Good afternoon and welcome to Fridays with Friends at Coast to Coast Legal Aid. I'm Geraldine DiBianchi. I am the Mobile Justice Squad in the Senior Citizen Law Project of our Senior Law Unit. Today, in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, we are honored to have with us Monica Hertzbeck, the Community Relations Liaison from Chrysalis Health. Thank you for being here, Monica.
Thank you, Geraldine.
A little background on Monica. She graduated with her master's in psychology from Nova Southeastern University, and she received her undergraduate degree in communications from Spring Hill College in Mobile, Alabama, correct?
Correct.
Correct. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Monica.
So I'm a native Floridian, but I've been with Chrysalis Health this is my 5th year as a liaison. I started off in Orlando and then came down to West Palm Beach. Then went to the Broward. I was a court liaison in Broward County with the courts, which we'll talk about. And then West Palm Beach, community liaison, and then now Broward, which is really my home base. So I really learned a lot about, what's happening in one county is usually happening in another county as far as mental and behavior health.
Well, we're really happy you're here in Broward joining us as a community partner.
Thank you.
Give us a little background on Chrysalis Health, please.
So Chrysalis Health is an amazing organization. They have been around for over 20 years. They started with a boys' home in Broward County, the Crawford House, and that was a long time ago. Now we are a full community-based agency. We're across the whole entire state of Florida. We work with the schools, districts of each county. We're not in every single county, but we're in most of the counties. So we have relationships with the Broward County schools. So anything I say about Broward County is usually in other counties as well. We work with hospitals, pediatricians. We have a relationship with pediatric associates where we work together and give them, the families and the patients support, mental health support. We work with the courts, we work with the police, and we work with the community at large. So we're basically here to service the community.
So when you're servicing the community, you have a mission, a belief, a core value. Tell us about that.
Okay, so yes, the 4 C's.
The 4 C's, you have 4 C's are your core values at Chrysalis Health. Tell us what they are, and then we'll get into how you implement.
I'm getting a text right now, aren't I? So you actually sent me that email.
I believe I could kick you off if you'd like.
You're gonna have to.
Well, I like these 4 C's. The first one being compassion. The most important one is compassion. I would imagine with.
Why don't you read them off and I can discuss?
Sure. So go ahead. Compassion.
Right. So obviously, yes, compassion is always going to be number one with that type of intimate relationship between therapist and client. Compassion.
Clinical excellence.
Yes. So we are, our therapists are not only master's level clinicians, but they are trained rigorously with Chrysalis Health. So whatever training they got in school, they're still going to be trained the Chrysalis way, which is the trauma-informed cognitive behavior therapy, amongst other. But our clinicians don't go out and see clients until they've been trained again through Chrysalis. So that's the clinical excellence.
I like that. How about the commitment to client, colleague, company, and community?
Right.
The community wellness, all of that together. It's very holistic.
It is because, we want not only to help our clients, but we also want to keep our employees happy and healthy as well. So there's a lot, Chrysalis creates a lot of support for their employees as well. So even if an employee needs counseling, they're going to get it through Chrysalis. because it is taxing to be in the mental health field, because you're taking on, all of these, everyone's, issues and problems happily. That's what you train. That's what your passion is. But it can be taxing. So we take care of our therapists and our employees, um, as well as the commitment to the community. No one's ever, pushed away. I mean, it's really a great company, and a lot of companies might do great things, but they're not great to work for.
Right.
And you do see that a lot. I mean, even outside of mental health, they sound great, but working there, everyone's like, no, it's terrible. Chrysalis is a great place to work as
You don't
well.
hear that very often. So
Exactly,
yes,
exactly.
you would hear it from me because I feel the same way about Coast to Coast Legal Aid.
Yeah,
So,
so people are proud, they're proud to work there.
right,
And that carries over with the work that they do in the community.
important. And your final C, which is really the introduction to Chrysalis Health, is customer service. The first call anybody places, you're going to get to customer service. And I think everything you just said plays into that because that's their initial contact and encounter with Chrysalis Health. So I might have taken that one from you.
Right? No, well, that's one of the reasons I believe they have the community relations liaison in each county, because they do still need someone to be out in the community, um, letting people know our services, letting people know, hey, if you have a question, if there's an issue, call the community relations liaison. So that way there is a person you can just call, because with any big organization, um, sometimes it's hard to get people on the phone in each
Right,
department, you know.
right.
If you've got one person who can field all the calls and
Mhm.
answer questions or refer them to the right person, um, that helps a lot.
So
So
when you say when they place that call, what are these services that you offer? They place a call because what are they encountering that they need you? And then
okay,
tell us who's calling, who do you serve? What are your services and who do you serve?
okay, so what we do is we offer counseling for any individual age. We start very young, age 3. Obviously, it's going to be more play therapy, but age 3 and up. So that's a lot of people. We do outpatient therapy is what it's called, which is counseling, meaning we go to the client. Now, with the pandemic, everything's changed, obviously, but our structure, the way we're set up, is to service the client. We go to them, because that's one of the big barriers when people need mental health um, therapy, is getting there and compliance.
Mhm.
So we go to them. We go to them at the school. We can go to them at work. Well, it has to be private. We go to their home, their school, a public place that's private, things like that. We also offer the services at our locations for people who want that office setting. But in general, we would go to the client, to travel to them. So we
Really?
offer, so our there's so much we do, so it's so hard sometimes to, but mental health counseling,
Mhm.
substance abuse counseling, we provide a new program called Healthy Connections, which is postpartum depression. So we have a whole entire program just for moms, new moms who are struggling with their new role, which it is,
Mhm.
most moms
Mhm.
do. Um, so we work with healthy mothers, healthy babies. Um, First to all of the programs, community programs for moms. So postpartum depression, we work with domestic violence, we work with trauma, whether it's abuse, sexual abuse. We're quite known for working with individuals who have experienced sexual abuse. We work with, let's see, what have I not covered?
Well, I have to tell you, the fact that you go to the clients and meet them wherever it's a comfortable and safe environment, that's unique probably to you and very few, because being the mobile justice squad attorney, I know how there's an isolation factor or in something that's holding people back, whether it's disability or lack of transportation, where they can't access these vital services. And for
Exactly.
you to be able to bring mental health services directly to them, I don't think you could put a price on that.
No, exactly. And another big one I forgot to add is targeted case management. So somebody can get both of those with us. They can have a therapist assigned to them and working with them every week.
Mhm.
And in addition, a targeted case manager working with them every week. So it's two people support, a two team support that they can get with us at the same time. So that's huge.
That's huge.
And now with the pandemic, well, obviously we do, well, even before the pandemic, we offered telehealth. We started that before. So we were
did.
fortunate that when the pandemic came down, we were completely prepared because we already had it all set up to do telehealth. Another huge benefit of Chrysalis Health, a lot of community agencies, most of them have excellent programs and they know what they're doing and they've been doing it a long time. But what happens is they get so big, they have a huge, long waiting list. I've seen it in Orlando, West Palm Beach, and so it's great to have these programs, but if you can't get to them, it's very frustrating for people.
Right.
Chrysalis doesn't have a wait list. We're very fortunate with that.
Wow.
So there's no wait list with Chrysalis. So we're literally available for people who need us. Most of our referrals come from the schools, the social workers, the guidance counselors. They've changed their titles over the last few years of different names, but I'm just going to call them guidance counselors at this
Go
moment.
ahead. Yeah, sure.
The social workers
We
at the
get it, right.
schools, they come from the pediatricians, they come from CPI, Child Protective Investigators, they come from moms. You can call us directly. You do not need a referral to get our services. You
That
can
was one of
call
my
as a
questions.
right. You can just call. You just have to know we exist, which is great. We're doing a live.
Right.
You can
right.
call yourself and ask for the services and get them. You don't have to be referred.
How does one get your services? They call, they could look online. Is there an online application? Or if they call, then next steps. What are your requirements? What does, what do they have to fulfill in order to access your services?
Okay, so we do have a website. Some people choose to fill out application online, chrysalishealth.com, and it's chrysalis, like the butterfly,
Right.
Hrysalis. I don't know if that's on the screen, but a lot of people
We'll put
say,
it in the comments.
yeah, it's chrysalishealth.com. And the reason, I'm just going to go to the side a little bit. The reason that it's called chrysalis is it represents the butterfly.
Of course.
So there's a meaning behind the name of our agency, a being in the process of development. So that was specifically chosen to represent what we're trying to do to help our clients develop and overcome and grow.
I love it. I love the metaphor. I do.
Right.
Yes.
So the
It's
butterfly
important.
is our team mascot. Okay. So there is a application to fill out on chrysalishealth.com that you can do. You can also call our main number, which is 954-587-1008, extension 1, and that is our intake department. You can just call directly, and the intake department, someone will answer or call you back,
Okay.
and then you just give them the information. Now, what do you need?
What do we need?
So,
and is there a cost involved?
yes. So if the individual, the child, the adult, if they are recipients of Medicaid or any of the Medicaid HMOs, um, our services are at no cost. So because that is such a big, huge piece, the insurances and the Medicaid, and it's always sort of moving and changing, the best thing to do is to just contact us, and the intake will run the benefits and see if they have the benefits, because there are a few Medicaid-based programs that maybe don't have a mental health component. So
Right.
we can resolve that really quickly because they'll run the benefits with the person's
Mhm.
name, date of birth, and or social security number if they don't know what they have. We can run the benefits and see if they have mental health um, benefits in their insurance. Then once that's established, okay. So what happens is once the referral comes to intake, which means it was called in. I'm sorry, it was emailed in. We also have a referral form that I email to people. Most people have it. Most organizations, schools, pediatricians, and things. But
Right.
so emailing in the referrals actually our number one source of referrals because most people have the form, they email it in. But you can call as well, add to the website. I don't really say the fax anymore because of the lockdown. I don't promote the fax anymore because I don't always know if that's going to be
Yes.
effective.
Yes.
That's
So
physically.
speaking of the lockdown, speaking of it being Mental Health Awareness Month, have you seen an uptick in the need for services? And have you seen a change in what those needs are as a result of the pandemic? And how have you faced it? Three in one.
Absolutely, absolutely. A big increase in anxiety, a big increase in depression due to the isolation. We had a huge increase in domestic disturbances coming in.
Mhm.
I went from getting most of the referrals from the schools to getting them from the child protective investigators because now they're the ones dealing with the problems as opposed to the schools. So huge increase in domestic disturbances, anxiety, depression, suicidal ideations, substance abuse increase, pretty much everything. Yes, absolutely. Um, and we got to them as quickly as possible,
Mhm.
work with all those clients. Um, one benefit, a couple benefits, excuse me, of the not that there's a benefit of a pandemic, but
No.
one benefit of how we were able to help these people, um, help the people in the community. The way Chrysalis was set up is because once we were doing the telehealth, okay, so before the pandemic, sometimes it'd be a situation where there was a language requirement that maybe we didn't have a therapist in that zip code that could service. We would have to say, we don't have anyone in that zip code that speaks that language or that can go at that time. Or what with telehealth, now there's no barriers. We can have
Yes.
there's sometimes a therapist that may be working out of Tampa that speaks Portuguese and can fit into this person's schedule and they can still do the counseling. So
Yeah.
it's actually opened up a lot of cleared out a lot of barriers as far as
Right.
language.
Yep. I really think that, yeah, the adaptability of the online presence has really helped people, especially in circumstances like yours, where all of a sudden they can have access immediately, especially in crucial situations like you went all the way to suicidal issues. That's not something you could wait. That's not something that you need to take your time on. That's something that needs to be immediately addressed. So thank goodness you have this ability to
Yeah, and
reach out to them.
we're not immediate. We're not immediate. So if there's a situation, there are, some individuals will get Baker acted. We don't do that,
No,
but whoever's,
right.
deciding the police, the school, the hospital, whatever is
Mhm.
going on, because we're not immediate. We have programs and we provide services, but we're not a mobile crisis at all. So
Okay.
if there's an actual crisis, they're not going to be calling Chrysalis. They're going to call Chrysalis after the 3-day hospitalization and
Right.
they're getting
Right.
released and they want to set up the services. So that is something
Okay.
that I do need to mention. We're not a crisis on the spot immediately type of thing. It's not going to work that way. So going back to how it works. So once we get the referral, we run the benefits, and then we, contact and our intake sets up the initial assessment. So usually when someone sends in a referral, they're going to hear back from us in 2 to 3 days. I mean, our goal is always two, but I like to say three
Right.
days.
Mhm.
Um, and we're going to set up the assessment. So that's the initial appointment where we're going to go through everything, give a diagnosis. It could be anxiety. It could be a situation. We're going to give and a treatment plan. Then the client is going to be assigned a therapist, and then the work begins between the client and the therapist. And they usually meet once a week for an hour. If the client is experiencing more severe symptoms, they're going to ask for 2 hours a week. Chrysalis will go to bat for them with the insurance
Really?
two
Wow.
times a week if it's a little more escalated, and we fight for them to get more counseling, and so we do 2 times a week.
Wow.
And then it goes on from anywhere to 3 to 6 months depending on their insurance and the treatment plan and everything.
Tell us a little bit about the professionals that provide these services.
Yes, so our wonderful therapists that we all love, they're the meat and potatoes of Chrysalis because they're the ones on the front line. They're doing the counseling. So our therapists are all master's level clinicians. They have their master's. It could be marriage and family counseling, clinical counseling. They have a master's in counseling and or psychology. Then they are trained through Chrysalis trauma-based. They call it trauma-informed cognitive behavior therapy. All the protocols of the evidence-based protocols in psychology we follow. So the motivational interviewing, what we call it, cognitive behavior therapy. For the little ones, it's more the play therapy. And so it's basically cognitive behavior therapy, trauma-informed. So the reason the trauma-informed is so important is because, they have the ACE study, and we have, trauma clients who have experienced or are experiencing trauma are going to have reactions that clinicians need to understand why, and to be able to work with them even while they're experiencing trauma. So instead of, they have to understand what trauma looks like. And most of our clients that come with us, they have some sort of trauma that's going on. And the clinicians have to be able to recognize that, de-escalate if they need to. They have to be trained how to do this and understand what's going on so they can help the client get through this. So that's a very important part. And what else about our clinicians? Our assessors, which is the first person that the client's going to meet, they are licensed. They're licensed assessors. So our clinicians then, our group of clinicians will work under a director, a clinical director, and they, what's the word? What is it? They staff the cases.
Right.
They staff the cases and they meet, and so that they're also getting, they're overseen by the clinical director of that group to, troubleshoot. They talk about what's going on. Of course, not details, but, going on, so that they're getting, the therapist getting another, someone with even more experience going through staffing the case, right?
Very important.
Very
so multiple layers of professionalism.
yes.
So that's very important that everybody in there is trained. So before we wrap it up, I just want to say thank you so much for being here and for all that you do. And what you mentioned overlaps quite a bit in what we do at Coast to Coast Legal Aid, and the people that you help and the people that we help. So we look forward to working with you and being a community partner with you in the future. So thank you for being here, Monica.
Thank you
and
so
again,
much.
You're welcome. And since it's Mental Health Awareness Month and you are a professional, if you have any just little tidbits of how to keep everything, calmly together for those of us out there that were hopefully coming down from this pandemic, any, words of just advice. It's not easy, but something that you could offer.
Well, I would say, Chrysalis, they send out every Monday and every Friday something they'll send to us, like motivational or things like that to us. And for me personally, I think the most important thing is that everyone has one person to talk to. A therapist you're going to see once a week for an hour or twice a week for an hour. but everybody needs, they don't need 100 people, they need one person to talk to.
I like that.
And if everyone has one person to talk to, they don't feel alone. People, you know, they
Yes.
suffer when they're feeling that they're all alone. No one's really alone. Um, they, but a lot of people feel very alone.
Mhm, mhm.
And so I think the number one thing is to have one person in your life that you can talk to about what you're scared about, what you're going through, um, you know, just how your day's going. And that goes a long way for mental health.
It really did. Well, thank you so much for the
You're welcome.
tremendous work you do. It's essential to people, to their health, their well-being, and it makes us a better community when we could all breathe a little easier knowing that there's a Chrysalis Health out there to help
Yeah.
from ages 3 and up.
Yeah.
And we thank you for it.
Thank
And thank all of you for watching and for being here. We will put Monica's contact information in the comments. She already gave out their phone number. It's 954-587-1008, extension 1. Monica was also kind enough to give us her cell phone number, and that's 954 sorry,
754.
754-610-9069.
Yep.
And you can always access them on their website at chrysalishealth.com. And again, thank you for tuning in to Fridays with Friends. And always remember to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at Coast to Coast Legal Aid. Everyone stay well and thank you for watching.